Welcome, everyone. Glad you made it. Gonna be a great night. I'm glad everybody took some time to tune in and catch this interview. It's gonna be a real good one. I know it's been a long day and everybody's ready to be done with the day, so I appreciate you coming and getting some entertainment here with us. Let's dive right into it. First off, good evening. Welcome to Ask a Dom on TDTV. That's Triskelion Dynasty television. We're here to create space for honest conversation, real education, and perspectives from experienced dominance throughout the BDSM community. I'm your host, Lorenzo Knight. Welcome to everyone joining us live, everyone watching on YouTube, and tuning out through many of our other platforms. Whether you're new to the lifestyle, experienced in the community, a dominant, a submissive, a switch, or simply here to learn, we appreciate you spending your evening with us. Tonight's conversation may include mature discussions about BDSM, power exchange, sadism, masochism, sensuality, and all the good stuff we love so much. I want to read a disclaimer for y'all, if that's all right. Tonight's program is intended for adults age 18 and older. It is presented for educational and entertainment purposes only. The views and experiences shared by our guests belong to him, but do not necessarily represent the views of TDTV, Triskelion Dynasty, Black BDSM Elite, or other members of the BDSM community. Nothing discussed tonight should be treated as medical, legal, or mental health advice. BDSM activities include physical and emotional risks, and consent must be informed. Enthusiastic, specific, and ongoing consent must be in place. It can also be withdrawn at any time. Education, negotiation, risk awareness, safety planning, aftercare, and all of these things are all parts of what we're here to learn more about. After tonight, I would say take the conversation, but seek qualified instruction and make choices that are appropriate to your experience, your health, your limits, and your circumstances. We ask everyone in the live discussion to remain respectful. Questions are welcome. Harassment, shaming, outing, or anything like that is not. Let's get into it and welcome Sir Leezus in the building. Welcome, sir. Glad to have you.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you, good brother.
Absolutely. Let me just do a brief introduction so we can all get to know Sir Leezus here. Tonight's guest has spent more than 20 years in the lifestyle. He describes himself as a sensual sadist and pleasure dominant. Through the Sir Leezus brand and his platform, Find Your Kink, he has introduced thousands of people, particularly women, to the exploration of desire, surrender, sensation, and power exchange. His work sits at the intersection of sensuality, sadism, education, performance, and professional domination. That gives us an opportunity to discuss not only what dominance looks like publicly, but also the responsibilities, preparation, accountability, and humanity that exists behind it. Sir Leezus, welcome to Ask a Dom. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'd love for us to just get into this thing, so let's just get into that.
Absolutely.
All right. So let's begin with helping everyone understand who you are beyond the name and beyond the public image. So let's start with, for anyone meeting you for the first time, who is Sir Leezus and what does he bring? What does being a sensual sadist, pleasure dom, mean to you?
So for me, you meeting me for the first time, I am a person that I go along with my brand and what I put out there to find your kink. I want to help you find what you've been exploring, what you've been looking at, what you haven't been able to journey on your own. Can you still see me?
Yes.
Okay, because it went out for a second, right? So that's what I represent. A stepping stone for a lot of people to be introduced to things that they have been shunned into wanting to experience. They don't have the outlets to experience that, or they haven't seen it delivered to them in a way that makes them interested, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So when I first got, because I started off in a swinger community, and BDSM was just something that I did with a partner. Once I got introduced to it, I didn't realize that the way I presented it, it's more sensual, coming from a dominant male, was wanted by a lot of people. So, because I thought that that's how, because if you learn it and you don't know how everybody practices, right? So once I found out that there are a lot of women that want a dominant male, but that can also be seductive, also be sensual, right? Then I started presenting that, what I did naturally, before I even got into BDSM. And then when I combined it together, that started to make Sir Leezus. So that's why I went to more towards the sensual sadist pleasure dom, because my job is to figure out what you like, and I'm going to maneuver to what you like. And a lot of people have a misconception because they might see a video that went viral. Depending on how you came across me, you might say, oh, he likes this, he likes that. If you don't have a conversation and understand that, I'm going to do what that particular person wants to do, whatever is going to get them to get to their state of ecstasy, right? If you want me to spank you, I can spank you. If you want me to talk to you nice, I can talk to you nice. I can provide oralism. If you want to be paddled until you're purple, I can provide that. If you just want sensual touch and until a space to where you're doing forced orgasm, whatever, I can provide that. So that defines me as a pleasure dom. So that's what I present to people. I'm going to do what pleases that person. So depending on what space you meet me in and who I'm interacting with, from the outside looking in, that's what you're going to see until you converse with me and actually have a conversation and said, oh, you were only doing that because she likes that. You see what I'm saying? Or you were doing that because that was that person, that's what she asked for, or she wanted to explore that.
Okay. All right. Well, you answer my next question. The question was going to be, you've been involved in the lifestyle for over 20 years now. I was going to ask what first awakened the dominant, and you pretty much answered that. So,
but that's still a good question. That's still a good question. I'll tell people it wasn't for me like it being woken. I've been a dominant person just in general when I came into myself as a man. Before I thought about anything BDSM, it was just a natural energy for me. Being a leader, being a positive influence to people that people in a space where people are able to ask you advice, ask you to lead, ask you to make a decision. So these are things, just the roles that I have been brought into just by being my natural self. Perfect example, playing a sport. If you played a sport before, when a coach comes to you and asks you to be a captain of a team, he's asking somebody to be a captain. He identifies as a leader, as a role model, as somebody that his peers respect. You see what I'm saying? So I've been a captain of the sports teams that I played up until college, up into semi-pro. But that's just because of how I present myself. You see what I'm saying? So it wasn't a choice to be dominant for me. It was a choice to identify as a dominant in the BDSM community. So it's a big difference in someone just being a dominant male, dominant naturally, than somebody identifying to take that title once you get into that community, which is different. So I've always been in a dominant space energy-wise, but then I made a conscious decision to identify as a dominant in the BDSM community. So I always say you can be a dominant male. That doesn't make you an actual dom, but that doesn't mean you want the responsibility of being a dom in the BDSM community.
Right. That's key. That's key right there. So let me ask you, what did your early years in BDSM teach you that you couldn't have learned from a book, a video, or a workshop?
Energy, emotions, feelings, and humans, right? Because your interaction, you can teach me something, but you're teaching me from what you learned from who you interacted. At the end of the day, we're humans. I don't care what community we're in. I don't care, submissive, dominant, master, slave. We're still humans at the end of the day, right? And you have to be mindful of you're going to meet different type of energies, different type of personalities, and no book can prepare you for that. You see what I'm saying? Because you can read, if I write a book, you're going to read about my experience. My experience and your experience, my journey, your journey are completely different, right? We might have the same end goal. We might have the same concepts, the same morals, the same integrity, but our journey is going to be completely different. And you're going to get a different perspective. Reading your book and talking to you in person, I'm still going to get a different type of feel from you. Hanging out, having a drink, and you being in a vulnerable space where you're talking to me brother to brother, a black man to black man, and then dom to dom, those are three different types of conversations. You see what I'm saying? You might speak to me as a father, like we both have kids. So there's different spaces that people give advice from, and you learn stuff from just being out in the field, meeting people. So I tell somebody all the time, they say, what books do you suggest, whatever? Go outside, talk to people, go to different months, go to different states. You know what I mean? Go somewhere and just converse with somebody. A lot of people have lost that art of socialization. Go talk. We don't ask questions. We don't sit and just have regular human contact with a lot of people. That's one thing that elevated me a lot. I spoke to so many people. I got advice from hundreds of different people, different communities, black, white, Asian, people just learning, people been in there for 50 years, just sitting down and having a genuine conversation and learning a little bit, taking a little bit from them from a 20-minute conversation. You can get more from a 30-minute conversation than you can from reading a book sometimes. If you're a person that comprehends at a certain level, if you're actually speaking to somebody with intentions on being receptive to what they're saying, you're asking questions that that are fruitful, that are beneficial to actually having a conversation. You see what I'm saying?
All right, absolutely. I always say energy is important. You got to get out there and mix it up. It's easy to get in your own world, just chilling in your house and reading books and stuff, and you get this idea of how things are, and then you get out there and you realize the energy is different. So energy is definitely important in this, man. You got to get out there and mix it up. That's something y'all got to take away from this conversation. Get out there. And not just in your state, neither. You travel a little bit, have a little fun. We in this to enjoy this, so get out there, mix it up a little bit. So let me ask you, was there a particular experience when you realized this could become more than a personal interest and grow you into the Sir Leezus brand?
So for me, it started off as a personal interest for me. It was only personal. I had no interest in doing a professional or even journeying down as deep as I went into the BDSM realm or community. Because when I first got introduced, it was passive. I was looking at it as passive entertainment, or I just was in the spaces that it was. And I had the opportunity to be around where they were having workshops and classes and seminars and stuff like that early on while I was involved heavy in the swinger community. So for me, when it came professional, I started off, the first thing I did professionally, I was teaching swinger one-on-one classes. So that was my first step into doing anything professional outside of hosting. Even before I started hosting my own parties, when I did that, I was working for a club. I was promoting, hosting at the club, whatever, but I was teaching swinger one-on-one classes. I would go to a lot of the Black-owned adult sex stores in the area, and I would do a swingers one-on-one class. So that's how I got into the professional realm there. So that took me to doing demonstrations. And for me to make the decision to go professional with, I put a video out and people were super receptive to how I did erotic power exchange. The more I started getting more involved in doing those interactions, my interest went towards erotic power exchange. Just having that interaction, having that leading with seduction, leading interaction with seduction. So once I saw the need for that and it not being a lot of Black men in the community that operate in that space, because women lead with a lot of women that do stuff professionally is sensual, right? It's seductive. And that's usually the first. You have a lot of sadistic women. Let me put that out there. There are a lot of women that perform that are sadistic, but there's not a lot of dominant males that have that sensual, seductive side, but can also be aggressive and combined it in that way. And I saw that. And the feedback that I started getting from a lot of women, like, oh, I love how you do it. It's super sexy. I've seen it. I've had this done by a professional. It wasn't putting me in a space where I was turned on by it, which is okay. Because there are people that everybody does everything that I do, right? As long, like most of the professionals, let's say that everybody can flog, everybody can spank, everybody can use a paddle, everybody can do sensory play. It's how you put it together, how you curate that interaction with that person, how you read that person's energy. Are you leading with, okay, I'm going to spank this person and I'm going to use the skill set I've learned to spank this person? Or am I going to use my skill set, but I'm going to maneuver off of her energy? And just learning that and then applying that and seeing the need for that got me into the space to where, okay, let me see how this looks like if I do it professionally. If I start putting it out there, start putting what I would do in the bedroom out there for people to see and people to enjoy. And it became a thing where people were in a space where they wanted to come sit down and watch it. Not even go to the space of, hey, I want a sexual. I just want to watch you interact with a woman. And that's what I went off of when I went professional. You see what I'm saying? Now, of course, you get the people that want private sessions, all that, whatever. But the fuel was the amount of people that wanted to watch me interact with somebody. So that was the fuel that made me put it together, get the ball rolling, and actually start to slowly, like, okay, let me do this. Let me brand this. Let me do this to the point to where I don't got to work at a job anymore. And I was a behavioral health specialist for 20 plus years. So to get to that space to where, like, what, I can do this full time because I have this many avenues. I have the sessions avenue, I have the teaching avenue, I have the performance avenue. So
okay. I remember you were talking about the video and going viral and all of that. And I remember that. I remember when it all happened. I'm sure everybody that knows you, everybody that's close enough to you, they all remember when it went live and everybody was going crazy about it and stuff. So I'm gonna ask you a question that you might not have been asked before, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. We all know, let's say the young lady that was in the video with you. Are you still in contact with her? Did she go viral as well?
The one, so you're talking about the biggest viral video, because my first video went viral, but it wasn't as big as my biggest.
We talking about the hand spanking on the stage.
So she just came to my last show. She just had a baby, so
dope.
she's been out. But so we've been performing up until we performed until she just got pregnant recently. So, but she does shows with me at least every other month. But she hasn't traveled, but only my Philly shows. But she don't travel too much. But we, from that video, we've done hundreds of shows. But we stay in touch. And even when she was performing, when she still was partner. So she was performing when she still a partner. But I've known her for years. So that's somebody that I introduced to the lifestyle. And she's the person that actually introduced me to the person that pushed out my first show. So she bridged that gap. She introduced me, but it was on another level. But she's the person that introduced me. She just happened to be at a space, saw they had a need for something, and hit me up. Hey, would you be interested in doing AB and some of that? She plugged me in with that though.
That's dope. That's what's up, man. I love to see that, man. Because that video went live.
We have like 7 viral videos. That one has like 20 million views, but we have videos we have a couple videos like over like 300,000. We had a couple well after that, like a couple of years later down the line.
Okay, all right. Doing numbers, that's what I'm talking about. So let's talk about your platform. Your platform is called Find Your King. How do you help someone separate their authentic desires from something they've been exploring because it's popular or because it looks exciting online?
So that's a personal, that's an internal thing with a person, right? Because you can see something online and want to try it. That a lot of us get introduced from something because we see it somewhere else. You see what I'm saying? So that doesn't make it less of an interest for you. See what I'm saying? Because you saw it somewhere else. Because sometimes you need to be introduced to it. You don't know until right? So just like somebody sees somebody being flogged and they've never seen a flogger before. How would you, unless you see it and somebody introduce you to it? The best way is for something to be seen visual first and say, what? I see these women that are enjoying that. I might want to explore that. I use my show for those purposes as well. Come to a show first. If anybody, I want to get into BDSM, I don't know so come to a show, go to a demonstration, see it in real time. See how that person responds, see the crowd. If that person is service topic somewhere and they're interacting with multiple people, watch those interactions. Because that's just like Pepsi, right? You start seeing a commercial, it's a thing, and now you want to try it, but it's actually good though. You like with the BDSM community, there was a space to where there were a lot of gatekeepers. A lot of people wanted to keep it super secret society, but there's people that can find true pleasure in their intimate life through BDSM. You see what I'm saying? Same way they can do it through the swinger lifestyle. Same way they can do it in the poly community. But sometimes you have to be introduced to it so you can learn that. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Exactly. It's like you have to see it first. So when I hear people talk about the aesthetic and how they try to downplay it, like, oh, this person, or they just like it because they think it looks pretty or whatever. Like that's how it begins. That's how when we think about attraction, we like to think that we immediately attracted to someone's mind. And we're not. We're attracted to something first. There's something that visually is appealing. And then we find out that there's layers to it. And that's how I look at BDSM. It's visually appealing. You want it. And then you realize there's levels to this shit. There's DS and you got to learn protocols and all of it. There's a lot to it. It's more than just swinging floggers. So I definitely appreciate you saying that for sure.
Let me touch on that for you. So, and look at the opposite end. There are people that see it and they have interaction and they hate it. And they're like, well, I don't understand why somebody's turned on from that. It's okay for that to happen. When I do sessions with people and I say, what have you experienced yet? Because I want to see, tell me something that you like, whatever, so I can key on that and then we can add more. Okay. So the first thing is, well, I see this person climaxing and going all crazy because you're talking to them and you're spanking. That might not be for you. And I tell people that you might not like that. You might love it. It might be the best thing that ever happened to you. But on the other end, you can hate it with a passion. But that's okay, right? But you're not going to know until just like something like electric play, right? I've seen women climax so crazy, waterfalls all over the place from electric play. I've seen somebody, the first touch of it, absolutely not. They're using a safety gesture. They're done. And I've seen that. Sometimes you don't know until. So there's a lot of things that you explore and you say, okay, that's a hard limit for me now. You don't know it's a hard limit until it's a hard limit. There's some stuff that you can eyeball and say, okay, I have a past trauma from hands around my throat, so erotic asphyxiation is an absolute no, because you could identify that from something else. That's okay. That's not the space where you talk that person into doing that. You see what I'm saying? Somebody says, well, I don't know if I'm going to like, well, listen, try erotics to see how you feel and then take a step further. So that space there. And also, it's a big difference between wanting to indulge in BDSM in the bedroom or as a lifestyle. The mental aspect versus the physical aspect. Those are two different lanes. They intertwine. They can simultaneously maneuver together, but that's two different lanes. The average person just wants BDSM in the bedroom. The average person that sees it, they want to be spanked, they want to be told what to do, and they want it during an intimate encounter. Now, we're talking about average, including vanilla and BDSM, not in the BDSM community, just the person that sees it, right? That's the typical person. They're not ready to be in a space to where they have to follow a protocol. They have to ask permission for whatever you have put in that protocol. Hypothetically, let's just say, for example, and this is hypothetically, maybe they have a high protocol where they have to ask to use the restroom. Maybe that's your situation. That's a big step from just being choked in the bedroom and me telling you when you can climax and not climax to that step. So you got to understand, somebody says, oh, I want to be a submissive. Do you really? Are you ready to? Because you don't know what my journey looks like. You don't know what I'm going to subject you to. They don't know what you're going to subject them to. You see what I'm saying? For me, it might just be submissive postures, serving my meals, and be my sex slave. But to somebody else, it might be, I'm gonna brand my name on your back. You have to ask everything. You know, to stand up, to wake up, what you're gonna eat, which is so. That might be the case for that particular person. So there's so many different levels to it, so many different journeys, and you don't know. This is why we have these platforms, why we had these conversations. And I have, because I operate in a lot of vanilla spaces, social media wise. So I get a lot of people that I have to educate, and I have to say, listen, I'm going to send you these questions, right? Through all of these, don't ask just answer them to the best of your knowledge, because then I'm going to be able to gauge to where, okay, you just saw somebody on a video, you saw them looking like they were turned on, and you want to explore that because you didn't do no research behind that, whatever. So a lot of people don't know that. I send a questionnaire out to deter people, and then I say, think about that the next time you message somebody, because there's going to be somebody that you message, and they're just going to say, come on, I got you. Come be my sub. And now you're never touching anything in the BDSM realm again. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. It definitely takes something. We have to have restraint as dominants, because a lot of times a submissive will say, just do it. I want it all. Just do it all because it looks pretty. We have to be able to use discernment and say, well, you're not ready for that yet. You're not ready for that yet. Let's dial it back a little bit. I always say a lot of people think a lot of submissives in particular think it's all head pats and good girls and being tied up in pretty rope and wax and stuff. And then they find themselves with a butt plug in cleaning baseboards on their knees for 2 hours. It happens. It happens.
It definitely happens.
You know what you're asking for real. So I got a question from the audience. How can someone safely explore a kink when they are interested but still afraid or ashamed of what they desire?
So the first thing I'm going to say is start by communicating, being transparent, but it has to be with somebody you have built trust with, right? Absolutely. And I'm not saying trust in the BDSM community, trust, human to human trust, right? Because we meet people in different communities, somebody that you trust outside of any of these communities, that you've got to know personally on a personal level, that you can be vulnerable, because that's putting yourself in a vulnerable state. If you're letting them something to know that you want to try, but you're scared to try for whatever the reason is, and talk. If somebody is not willing to have a conversation about it and talk you through it, they just want you to rush into it, whatever, that's an automatic red flag, right? So transparency and communication and trust should be the foundation of that conversation. Let them know, hey, I'm interested in trying this. But before you say that, it has to be someone that you trust enough to say, I'm interested in trying something that might be outside of what society deems to be normal. That's the first thing. Can you tell this person your kinkiest kink without them being judgmental, giggling, or saying, really? Can you tell that person that? Ask that question to yourself, or date that person. You see what I'm saying? And this is the problem. It might not be the person that you're currently dating or that you're attracted to. It just might be a person that you have built trust with, and they can actually provide that for you. See what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
then the person being responsible enough to say, okay, I can help you talk through it. I don't personally do that. I'm not experienced in that. You know what I mean? Somebody asked me about waterboarding. I don't indulge in that. I'm not going to do anything outside of my comfort range or that I have not mastered myself and learned enough about. I don't explore outside of what I do, hands down. You can't come to me with something that I've not. I don't do fire, and that's a simple thing. That's just to show you something simple that's easily obtained by somebody out there. Hey, I only trust you so and so. I don't do fire. I'm not going to learn fire. I have no interest in doing fire. I'm not going to do it with you because you trust me, but I trust Sir Knight. I know I will introduce you to him, and I'm going to vouch for him. If something goes wrong, I will hold myself accountable because I'm vouching for him. And then I'm gonna come talk to you like, bro, I vouch for you. You see what I'm saying? So
Fuck is up.
we all have certain people that we can say, I can trust to send this person to A, B, and C. And I know that they're going to treat them the same way I would treat a human. Forget a submissive, forget a woman, forget a partner, a human.
I think oftentimes we are, and if that's your kink, objectification is a thing. You'll dehumanizing someone and pornophilia and all that. But if that's your kink, that's your kink. But I think it's important that we remember that at the end of the day, we are all people that are trying to just make our way and do something that makes us feel good.
Absolutely.
That's key to remember. So, how do sensuality and sadism work together in your play, especially when one appears to offer comfort while the other intentionally creates discomfort?
So this ties into me being a pleasure dom. So I put that in a title specifically because sensual sadist pleasure dom. I can say me personally, I'm not a sadist, but I can be sadistic, if that makes sense. I get no pleasure from being sadistic or from being a sadist. I don't get any pleasure
I think we just
personally.
got some breaking news here, man. I think we just got some breaking news. We just found out that Sir Leezus is not a sadist, but he's a pleasure dom that can deliver sadistic needs. I like that.
So think about this, right? If I'm spanking you and it does nothing for you, it does nothing for me. I don't need to do it. Now, I'm gonna give you the other side of that. So I'm having interaction and I'm spanking you and we're having this engagement. And if spanking does nothing for you, automatically it stops me when it comes to my personal interaction with someone. Now, if I'm spanking as a form of discipline to correct the unwanted behavior, that's a different situation. I'm not spanking for my personal pleasure. I'm spanking because that's discipline. And I'm implying that because I'm maybe doing classic conditioning to where I told you don't do A, you do A, and then BC is that's the response. The spanking is the response because that's something that I can apply discipline for, but I'm not doing it because it pleases me. I'm doing it because I'm trying to correct the unwanted behavior. So that's a big difference. So if I'm spanking you 3 days out the week because you're breaking part of your protocol, that doesn't mean that I like to spank you, but I'm doing it because I can. Now, if you have a session with me and you say, hey, I'm a heavy bottle, I like heavy, thuddy impact, right? I have a high pain tolerance, and I want trophies, and I want you to go whatever so-and-so, this is that, just whatever so-and-so, I can meet you at that level when it comes to impact play. I can meet you at that level with no problem.
I think it's so important that we talk about this because this is so key to have the conversation of the difference between like topping someone and being able to like meet them where they need this, that, and that, and being a dominant that's kind of like set in this is what I offer and that's it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's a great conversation we're having already, man. I definitely appreciate that. So let me ask you, when you're planning a scene, are you primarily focused on what someone says they want or what their reactions reveal they might?
So let me walk you through. So one of my events, I set it up to people can watch me have an interaction, and it's intentionally set up for me to have an interaction with somebody that I have never met. Right? I'm doing my negotiation with them in the time frame. I explain everything that I'm going to do, anything that can happen up there, so they know everything there. Say there's 10 ladies sitting there, and they're watching me go through this. I'm going to curate this session for that person from them seeing the toys, having a conversation, me explaining, hey, I'm going to do sensory play, explaining what sensory play is. I'm going to do impact play, explaining what impact play is, showing the toys that I would use, erotic asphyxiation, explaining that, G-spot stimulation, explaining everything that I'm going to do. Oralism, I'm going to talk to you. Do you like to be talked to? Nasty, nice, no, whatever, tell me that. I'm going to take all that information and I'm gonna put it together. Okay, you said this. If there's something you don't like, this is how you whatever. Then we'll go, because sometimes they don't know until you, because I have a lot of toys that you have never felt. I can guarantee you, I have something on my table that somebody has never felt. And you say, "Hey, I'm heavy impact." Until you feel this, then you're like, "Okay, I was heavy until."
Right.
But now I know
Very
if I
heavy
see that on
impact.
somebody's table, absolutely not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read energy, breathing, body language, right? Moans, sounds. And then I'm going to take that and I'm going to maneuver that energy all around, right? That's my job, to figure you out in that time frame. So that's the one thing that sets me aside from a lot of tops is I'm quick to figure somebody out energy wise, right? I can say it might take me 2-3 minutes to get a vibe for you, whatever. So, but I'm prepping that up. Control the environment, right? Control all the senses. Like I have the sound, I have the aroma, I have you here talking, whatever. We go through everything, and as soon as you're able to let go, I can feel that energy. But that's where I started focusing on a lot more, because, like I said, we all know how to flog, we all know how to use a paddle, right? We all know how to use all the toys and all that. We all don't know how to maneuver different energy, right? And come in line with someone in a short amount of time. But I've been doing that just regular, and that's been something that I realized I had a gift for. Just being able to, it's like when someone knows how to flirt with a woman. Every man does not have that skill set. They can't walk into a room, group of girls sit there, and girls be comfortable, like, oh, okay, whatever. But you take that same type of concept and be able to maneuver with that woman energy wise when you have her on your massage table or your spanking bench or your St. Andrew's cross and all that, whatever. So, but the thing is just being in tune and being able to focus on that person and lock in with that person. And you take everything that they've said that they're okay with, right? And then you try to find ways to basically elevate that, right? Oh, I love sensory play. Okay, let me create a sensory overload. I love A, B, and C. Let me see if I can do A, B, and C at the same time simultaneously while I'm providing your other kinks. So you like to be talked to. You like sensory play. You like clitoral stimulation. So, okay, I'm going to figure out. I know I can do A, B, and C. I've done enough that I can dive right in because she likes all these. I'm going to create that sensory, and then I'm going to wait till I see the energy shifting, her connected with me to apply everything that she said that she liked. So that's what I could key, and that started being my focus as I started like building up how I do my sessions and how I wanted to present myself. But that's why I say I lead with seduction.
Right.
So
Absolutely. So let me ask you a follow-up to that. How do you ensure that your interpretation of their reaction never overrides what they actually consented to?
So if you've ever been to one of my interactive experiences where you can actually close enough to see or hear, I'm nonstop communicating with the person. You know, show me your fingers. Show me whatever someone says. I have a system that I do for there. I don't do a lot of verbal, like say words, because I always have music playing. So when I'm going in to touch or doing something gentle, show me your fingers. Where you at? 1 to 5. You see what I'm saying? Because there may have been something that you said you like that you may not like at the time. So I'm always continuously show me your fingers. Where you at? Whatever this, that. You good? So and so. You like to get? So I'm doing that when I'm doing the session. You see me go in and talk, I'll whisper, but I add it to try to make it sexy. I don't like to. I like to have a fluent flowing scene. That's like you think of the concept if you're in a bedroom with somebody and y'all are being intimate and you have to stop for a second, like, hey, do you like it if I put your leg up right now? Like, should I continue doing? Should I? If there's something you don't like, flow into something else. You know? So that's the communication, and then letting people see what you're doing prior. That's why I put a lot of visual out. So you're gonna have some type of idea, right? It's not just a blind out the blue, whatever. Then that's one thing when it comes to submissives dealing with doms. They don't. A lot of them don't have the visual. It's only by word of this person is good, that person, whatever. You can't see what that person does. You can't see their interaction. I intentionally, everything I do is then recorded. Unless somebody pays for a private session, you have to pay to not have something recorded. You see what I'm saying? So there's people seeing it and you get to watch. Before somebody comes up to me, they done seen 3 women have this interaction. And they can say, I didn't like when you did that to her, or I love that, or I saw her respond to that. And then we figure it out. The whole thing is figuring it out with that person. We have to figure it out together.
Right.
They respond to one thing, they may not respond to you go to the next. You maneuver through that. It's like when as men, when we learned how to perform oral, right? What we did with the first 2, 3 girls may not work on the 5th one. You try different things that you've learned and you see her respond. Okay, she's responded to this. Let me focus on that. Focus on that real fast. I know I can always go back to that. Let me try this. Okay, she didn't respond to that, so-and-so. As long as you're not a person trying to get it out the way real fast, you focus and you remember. But that's an art to remember somebody's response. Biting their lips, moaning, elevating their pelvic, stuff like that. You got to pay attention to.
Right. Tricks of the trade. You got to learn stuff as you go.
I would drink to that.
Yeah, definitely. So you said that your work has introduced thousands of people, particularly women, to their desires. What fears or social conditioning do women most often is not a word, most often have to overcome?
Trust. Mm-hmm. Trust is the biggest thing. Mm-hmm. Trust. And let me say trust, and I'm going to give you different levels of trust, right? Trusting that I can be vulnerable enough to let you what I'm into, right? Trusting you that I'm safe. Those are two different, those are all within the same realm, but it's two different type of conversations. Because you can trust me to be safe with you physically, but can you trust me to be vulnerable? Can you trust that I won't judge you because you're into something that I'm not into? You see what I'm saying? So that is the biggest thing. A lot of women that I encounter have been in long relationships, right? Maybe married, divorced, back outside, and they were with someone that shamed them for a lot of things they were into kink-wise. So they tucked it away, they boxed it up, and it was just not a reality to them. You see what I'm saying? Right. And then out of fear of this next person that you might like, you might be in love with, right? Out of fear of what you've been conditioned to do, like, is not say this because not everybody's into that. Or this person might judge me because of that, and I don't want to ruin something good because of that. You see what I'm saying? So the trust factor, just for them to be vulnerable and tell you something that they might be into, that there's things that they can't even discuss with their girlfriends because the girlfriend's like, oh, you into that? Really? So-and-so? So be in that space. So that is one of the biggest things for anybody seeing it. That's why I create the visual. It took a lot for me to put my first video out. But once I did that, I would get messages like, oh my God, I see other people are into that. And just the simplest thing in the world. And I tell people this, right? Comment under my post, right? You don't know how much that does for somebody, because it shows them there's other Black women or white, any race, whatever. Let me say that. There's other women that are into that as well. Because you can watch it and say, oh my God, I love this. I didn't know there's, and then when you see 10 women under the post comment and say, oh, this is my thing, this is my so-and-so. That's why I started the Find Your Kink. Or I started the street interviews asking people randomly, or people that I know, what are you into? And then somebody sees that and they say, okay, I'm not the only person that likes this. I'm not the only person that likes golden shower. I'm not the only person that likes to have my feet wet. I'm not the only person, because we see it all the time. We know hundreds of people that are into multiple different things, right? And we don't understand a lot of us don't understand how privileged we are to be exposed to that, to be in such an open-minded environment where people will, hey, I'm into this, and not think nothing of it. There are people that they can't even, with their close circle, tell them that they're into being choked, because they're going to look at them crazy. I can tell somebody, hey, I'm into golden showers, and you're going to look, oh, I love that too, bro. You see what I'm saying? I'm not saying that that's what I'm into, but we're in those spaces, and we don't realize how privileged we are to be in such sexual liberated spaces and open-minded spaces, especially in the Black community, especially with successful, prominent Black folks. That you looking like, oh, she's a doctor and she's into that. Oh, he's whatever, so-and-so. Well, that's the chief of police that so that
absolutely,
right there.
Absolutely. You said that, and you ain't lying at all, man, because this is why we have these conversations, man. I say all the time, when I was coming up, this was considered white people shit.
They the same thing, bro. Hey, bro, we've all made that comment.
But here we are, loving it. You know what I'm saying? Enjoying it every day. I was just telling one of my submissives earlier, like, I have moments sometimes where I have to look out at other people doing what they're doing in the world. Like, sometimes I people watch, and sometimes it just dawns on me, like, I'm so lucky to be me. I'm so lucky to have the experiences that I have, to be able to talk to the people that I talk to and have them bear themselves to me in the way that they do. So I definitely understand that people bring this to you and they're unsure about it themselves. They don't know if it's normal that they like this. They just know that they like it. So they're able to bring it to you. And when they bring it to you and you validate it and tell them, not only not only is it okay that you like that, but I'm going to indulge in that with you. Let me show you how to do this.
Absolutely.
It makes all the difference. It makes all the difference. Desire and surrender may bring people into BDSM, I always say, but responsibility determines whether an experience is ethical and safe.
Okay.
So I'll start talking about being ethical and safe. What responsibilities does a dominant have before, during, and after pushing someone beyond the limit they believe they had?
So when it comes to pushing a limit, pushing anybody's limit, that's a conversation that needs to be had prior, right? Being transparent and the person consenting to wanting to take that next level. And let's keep it simple, something real simple. If I know this submissive can take 25 strokes with a paddle, right? And we say, hey, we've done 25 for the past week, whatever, so and so, and we have a conversation about pushing her limits because her limit is 25 at that time, maybe going to 30, maybe going to there. Transparency, knowing that we're going to try this and it might not work for you. We get to 25, which is your limit. We get to 26, and that's still over your limit. But we were transparent. We had the conversation. It was consensual, and we talked about that, and we decided to try that, go to the next level together. And then we come back and we reconvene and we decompress every situation, and we talk about what worked, what didn't work. Do you want to continue? Do you want to stay at that level? We said it's a communication thing all the time, and most people are different. Like, so I'll operate in a space of you have to, that this has to be a goal for you to push that. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm not sadistic, so I'm not going to push past. I don't want to push past where your threshold is personally. If you want to do it, we can do it. You see what I'm saying? So it's on a different end for me. You see what I'm saying? Now, when it comes to performing or something, if somebody says, hey, I want to do a show with you, and I say, hey, well, listen, right now, this is where you at. You have to be here to do a show because we're demonstrating toys. You see what I'm saying? We're presenting them. It's a lot different than a session where we're doing exactly what you like. You come to do a show. You see what I'm saying? We're doing an actual show. We're performing for people. You see what I'm saying? So your pain tolerance has to be here. So now we have to work you up to there personally before you can get onto the stage. So that's a different conversation. So,
okay.
So for me, I'm giving you both ends because I perform professionally and then I also do privately. The person has to say, I want to do more. I tapped out on this. I want to see if I can go past that because I know I tapped out on 3-4 strokes for this. I want to see if I can get to this. Or afterwards, I always show them every toy that they went through. And they say, oh, I didn't get to that. You didn't get to that yet. Well, can I get? I said, well, it's a buildup. If you couldn't take me spanking you, why am I pulling out my tire? If you couldn't take a spank, you see what I'm saying? So that's a different conversation than if somebody's coming to do a show. So, but people all the time want to go past what they have done prior. So you got to think when somebody says pushing their limits, it's the limits to what they have done prior to whatever you're going to do next. You see what I'm saying? So, and that might be a goal for somebody. That might be a goal for a dominant that's sadistic. Hey, you took 20. I want you to take 23. Let's talk about that. Let's work for 23. And then they're going to be expecting that. You see what I'm saying? Or it might be, you got to understand that there are submissives that have those goals for themselves. I want to be able to take every toy on your table. I've had that conversation. All right, well, you got a long way to go because you only made it through 7 of them, and I have 82 toys on the table. So you can get there, but it's going to take some time.
Right, that's funny. So let's get into the aftercare aspect of this. What does meaningful aftercare look like after a physically or an emotional scene with Sir Leezus?
So aftercare is dependent on a person. And I'm going to tell you this, no dominant can tell a submissive what her aftercare is. I don't care who they are. No dominant can tell you what your aftercare is. What we can do as responsible tops is we can provide first aid aftercare. Hey, what do you need? Whatever, so-and-so, alcohol, ornicare, anything. We can ask you, hey, do you need to go to urgent care? We're doing that check-in. I'm going to ask you how you feel mentally. Right? Where are you at mentally? How are you mentally? And I always say, do we need to go get you a psych eval or do you need a hug? Where are you? Right?
Or both.
Or both, right? And then pleasure-wise, did you like it or did you hate it or did you love it? So those are the basic checkers we can do. You need water, you need to whatever. So those are the basics. Now, it has to be, I can't say the responsibility of a bottom. I'm not even going to say a submissive. Say a bottom, because you don't know until, if you're not seasoned, if you haven't bottomed for multiple tops, you're not going to know until you, and sometimes you don't know right after the session. You might know a day later, right? You might need, and let me say this, right? You might need food. You might need to cuddle and hold that person for 2 hours after. Now, I'm going to say this for a reason, right? You might need to cuddle. You might need to hold the person. You might need food. You might need to be intimate with that person. Those are things that are 100% okay. Let me say that. All those are 100% okay. But all of those cannot be provided in every top-bottom situation, right? And it's a responsibility to, once you, that's what you need, to not make the mistake again, to involve yourself in a interaction where those cannot be provided, right? You go to a club and Sir Knight is service topping at the club, but you need to be intimate for your aftercare. That is a non-negotiable for you. That's not fair to do a session with him and then say he didn't provide the proper aftercare you needed. You see what I'm saying? And it's responsibility for the bottom to say, I need this. And I have to be able to say, I can provide it or I cannot provide it. That's one thing, because I saw one of the questions, and that's one of the things that, as a professional, right, you have to start. If you need extensive aftercare, verbalize that. And I should, and not me, any top should have the right to say, hey, we cannot continue this. We can't move forward because I cannot provide that for you. See what I'm saying? And that is a big space that we don't talk about. You see me? The responsibility of saying, if you don't know and it's your first time, that's 100% okay. That's 100% okay, because, like I said, you're not going to know until you're not going to know if you need to shut everything down, kick everybody out, be silent, watch a movie, which is 100% okay. I don't want to say it's a bad thing. It's 100% okay. But then you're not the person that needs to go to a dungeon and randomly scene with somebody and then tell them, oh, you got to leave the dungeon and come cuddle with me because this is what I need for aftercare. Right? So it's a responsibility on both ends. Hey, I provide basic aftercare. I had to put that in my actual sessions. It's basic aftercare, first aid if you need it. We'll talk, we'll discuss what's going on with or whatever, so and so. But I'm not beating you down after the session. Absolutely not. And I've had encounters to where, oh, I'm not going to get. Absolutely not. What do you mean? That's not. That's why you ain't read nothing about me slinging in any of my stuff that I sent you. But it happens though. We put ourselves in vulnerable spaces a lot. And when you're a presentable Black man and you have a skill set that the average man does not have, like, it happens, right? It happens.
It does. And the
aftercare, but it's going to be dependent on the person, right? And we can offer ideas. I can tell you 100 different things from past situations, what they needed. You might not need any of that, but it's, if you've seen 5 times, whatever, at that point, you should know what you need for aftercare. Your first time is understandable. Second is like, okay, your third, if you're not being responsible enough to see what you need after your third session, you don't need to be seen with anybody.
Right.
You know, because I'm going to ask you, what do you need for aftercare? What does it look like? Or you should say, hey, listen, can you provide this afterwards? Because I'm going to need.
Right. So let me ask the flip side of that real quick. What can a submissive do to provide aftercare and support to let's say to a top.
Everybody is different. For me, you can always bring me something to sip on.
Yeah.
So when I'm done, because I do a lot of, I might be in a situation where I might service top, let's say hypothetically, 5 girls in a row. So I'm going to work, bang, then I'm going to get in a space where I need to decompress, right? I'm going to take a second. I'm going to sit down. I'll come answer questions later, whatever, put the drink in my hand and just be there while I decompress. If we are in that personal space, because I don't expect that from someone that just casually, I don't do casual scenes. Let me put that out there. Everything is, you're coming to something that I'm presenting, hosting, and you're coming for that, whatever, but I don't do casual pickup play at all, in no shape, form, or fashion. There's no casual pickup play. I'm not pulling out no toy, whatever, unless you book the session or I'm booked to be somewhere and I'm presenting myself, my interactive experience, right? So if you provide for me, it's just being there, knowing, like my submissive knows, bring me a drink, bring me an energy drink, whatever, so-and-so, and tell anybody, hey, give them a second. Because I'm going to sit there, I'm going to have a drink, I'm going to decompress, I'm going to view the scene, I'm going to listen to some music, and I'm going to come down. You see what I'm saying? So that's that for me. It's just give me a space in a corner away from the chaos. I could be in the chaos, but I'm going to be away from the chaos. I ain't going to be in the mix. When I come back and I'm at my baseline, then I'll start back. And I'm a social person. If you see me, I'm one of the most social people you'll ever meet. You'll see me in a second, and I'll go to a corner. I'll sit there, have a drink, sit for a second. People will come. I'll still give conversation. Once I get back to my baseline, then I'm out and about. You got to give me time to decompress and get back to my baseline.
Okay. Good answer. Good answer. I like that. We all need to just decompress sometimes. It's important for everything that we do. We got to get our head together, especially someone like yourself that's doing scene after scene after scene. A lot of times that aftercare may not look like, hey, come cuddle with me and rub my head and tell me it's going to be all right. Sometimes it might just be, I just need to sit quiet for a little while. So let me sit quiet. So I'm going to get into, we're coming up on the end here, so I want to get to some of these more spicy questions before we get going. Right. So I want to move into the more challenging question involving professional domination, consent, and personal standards, basically. Okay. So can money ever complicate consent in professional domination, especially when a client feels pressured to endure more because they paid for the experience? For me, no, because I'm going to do what you asked me to do, right? So I'm going to give you my experience within your boundaries if you're doing a session. The only thing that there's no compromise for that is us having an intimate encounter after. And I have had situations to where that was the conversation that shouldn't have been the conversation. To what I don't understand why I got to explain this to you. That was expectation, that wasn't promised, that wasn't even anywhere in the ballpark of the conversation. So for me, no, because I'm only going to do what you choose to have, what you choose to indulge in. You see what I'm saying? So if you want me to tickle you until you climax, that's what I'm going to do. I'm a pleasure down. If you say, hey, I don't want no impact, I have done sessions with all sensory play. I have done sessions with all impact. I don't want none of that shit. I don't want none of that sissy shit. I've had a bottom say that to me. Don't give me none of that sensual stuff you be doing online. I want, right.
I
want the real deal.
Right to it. So I have those conversations. You can literally pick what you want to indulge in. And that's how I maneuver. You can say, if you say, do you, then I'm going to give you a mix of everything. I'm going to give you a mix of everything. It's going to start off sensual, and we're going to slowly build up the impact, then we're going to mix it up. That's what I'm going to do. So, gotcha. So no, the money is not, because it's always going to be what the client wants at the end of the day, except for intimacy, penetration with my, I do the thing with my hands and all that stuff, but that's as far as it gets. I have gloves on. Let's put that out there. That's one of my infamous to finish with the G-spot stimulation. So, right. But make the water show. I don't do. I'm a sex worker at the end of the day because I'm providing an intimate service. You see what I'm saying? But it's what that person wants. Absolutely. Now, you can't pay for. You pay for a session, and I don't tell you what you're going to get impact. No, I don't want impact. I don't care what you say. You paid me for it. That don't work like that. You get an impact, then. Or if you don't want no impact, it's not. Right. Okay. So what is something that a submissive can do that would cause you to immediately end the scene, even if they were like, no, keep going? So if you're not following my directions and you decide to tell me like, oh, I'm not going to do A, B, and C, or I ended the scene because the submissive kept trying to grab my genitalia, and she continued, all right, we got to stop because I told you 8 times, which is already too many. I should have been 1 then the next time but I gave you the best. And I'm going to end the scene. Or if someone continues to say, don't do this like that, don't do this like that, I might say, hey, listen, I'm going to end this right now because you ain't in the space that we need because we talked about everything. You see what I'm saying? Right. So it's more of you not cooperating after I explain everything and you agree. Because I tell you everything before we start. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, so this is that. I'm going to give you this gesture. I'm going to give you that gesture. I had a situation to where I say, do not yell a safe word out. Use your hand. Well, I don't want, and they kept continuing to do it. You have to put a hand up because there's music playing. You can say whatever you want to say, but you have to put a hand up. That's a non-negotiable for me. I can tell you, if you're going against my non-negotiables, you're going to have to stop. But you see what I'm saying? for something like that. But like I said, like I'm only going to do what the person has asked me to do. So, and if you don't like, you can continue, and then I can get to the space where like, love, there's nothing else I can do. I've been to that space. There's nothing else I can do. You don't like the sensory, you don't want impact. I don't know what else I can do for you, love. There's nothing else I can do. I could just.
That's the point. It's like we're clearly not a match.
You wanted a massage. I don't do massages. There's
Right.
really nothing else that I can do for you. You know what I'm saying? Unless you want me to sit here and just talk to you, I can. I can sit here and do verbal praise for 45 minutes and just compliment you if that's what you want. Stroke your hair. Like I can explain something different, but there's no need for you to be on the table doing that. We can sit side by side and I could do that.
Right. So that makes me wonder, have you ever stopped a scene because you recognized something was wrong before the submissive even recognized it?
I've only stopped the scene one time, and this was before we got into it. Before I even did anything, it was during my, because everything, I start with physical touch first. First 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes is all physical touch. Right. I'm trying to connect with you, talking to you, a little bit of erotic asphyxiation, but it's all physical touch. Right. And I have seen someone not focused, not there. Hey, listen, come back. Like you're not here. Come back. You see what I'm saying? If we've already discussed it, you just you're focusing on there, left, right, whatever, so like you're not here. Because I always say, I need you to be with me mentally, emotionally, energy-wise, and physically. I need you to be here with me for this to be successful. If you're not in that space right now, if you need to check your phone every 2 seconds because you got something with your kids, that's 100% okay. Go handle that, love, because you're not in the space doing a scene. You see what I'm saying? You're not in the space. You have to be available to have a scene with somebody. And available does not mean just your body being right there and present. Available energy-wise, mentally, spiritually, whatever. You see what I'm saying? Right? Emotionally, because if you had a relative that just passed away, why are you having a scene right now? Because you're not emotionally available. You see what I'm saying? If you're in a bad mood, your energy is off. Why are you on the table? Your energy is not available for you. You have negative energy because you're angry at something. You see what I'm saying? Physically. You're not physically. Why are you on the table? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Go ahead. We can reconvene. There'll be another opportunity. Don't make it to where we have a bad experience because you want to rush this. You see what I'm saying?
And now I don't want to touch you next time because of all of it.
That might happen. So you gotta be okay. But those are the conversations you have first. Like, love, go sit down. We'll talk after. Go talk after. Like, we'll have our moment, but it ain't right now. Or that same thing if somebody is too intoxicated. Love, you ain't gonna be able to focus. Right? That's the same thing. Right? That's the same thing. Safe, sane, and consensual, right? Mental gotta be there, gotta be safe for me and you, gotta be present. So it's a lot of things like that, the processes that go, that's natural to us. And we don't get to always explain that to a lot of people.
Absolutely.
They positive, they see the content come out, all of them, but there's a lot of stuff and the more you are in tune with that and the more professional you are, the faster you can do it. The easier you can do it without causing a scene and nobody know. Oh, what happened? Why didn't you do? She wasn't ready. I'm engage with her later. She needed to go over here for a second. She went there. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I love that you mentioned safe, sane, and consensual. That's the Triskelion. That's the 3 pillars of the Triskelion: safe, sane, and consensual. That's how we operate it. It's basically a standard operating procedure for everything that we do in this lifestyle. It has to be safe. We have to be of sane mind, and it's got to be consensual. I love that. So let me ask you this, getting towards the end here. Is there a kink that you once judged or avoided or misunderstood, but later came to appreciate after you learned more about it?
So I'm going to say this. I would say male submissives.
That's
male,
good.
just growing up and coming from brothers, uncles, alpha type males, growing up, and to see submissive men in the space. That was probably the only thing that once I got to my baseline for that, it was like, oh, okay, I understand why. You see what I'm saying? So, and it wasn't a judgmental thing. It was just I've been so open-minded from a young age. So if I have to think of one thing that I can say truthfully, that was like, wait, well, you going what? Like, hold up. And not even physical, any type of physical interaction, just the fact that being in a space to allow a woman to top them when I was young. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
My brother was in a very toxic relationship when I was younger, to where like we would be about to go play basketball, and she would be like, "No, he can't go," and he was like, "I can't go, y'all," and I'm like, "Wait, what do you mean?" And like, wait, my younger brother, and it's like, hold up, and that would like blow my mind. Like, well, what do you mean? We're literally going to play basketball. So just to give you an example. So, but now there's nothing that I can see that I'm going, as long as it's safe, sane, and consensual, and it doesn't involve anything illegal,
Right.
out of the norm that's deviant, right? Because there's some deviant things that people are into we don't condone as humans in general. So besides all that stuff, that would, if I had to pick one, just for the sake of the conversation, because I would say nothing, but if I had to pick one, that's one thing that right now I explain to them, it's okay to be submissive. Just find a person who understand it, and I don't judge that brother, that man in any type of way, because you're choosing to have that dynamic with that particular person for a reason. See what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And I don't look at that person any type of way, no type of way different. Now,
Absolutely.
you are doing it behind closed doors and presenting yourself as but I know, like, okay, bro, come on, man. I don't respect that. Live your truth. Live your truth.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But if I had to say something, that's what it would be. And that's just for the sake of the conversation. But in general, listen, whatever you say, I can't be the person that says find your kink and there be a kink that I got an issue with. It's not. There's
right. I agree with you on that. I was the same way earlier on. I was the same way. I just couldn't wrap my head around it. Like, but I'm a dominant as well. So I'm not going to understand that mindset until I started talking to more people. And as I talk to more male submissives and I start understanding like where it comes from, like what it is really, I'm able to appreciate it. It doesn't necessarily have to be my own kink, but I can appreciate it. Socrates, some people argue if it was Socrates or Marcus Aurelius, but he said it's the mark of an educated man to be able to entertain a conversation without taking that perspective as your own point of view, more or less. And essentially, it falls into this category. You have to be able to talk to people, understand their perspective, see their point of view without necessarily walking away and saying, "Yep, that's me now. That's who I am." So definitely, I appreciate you making that statement for sure. So I always close Ask Adam with a question that's meant to strip away the title, image, money, performance. I got a question for you tonight.
Okay.
You have the presence, the experience, the platform, and the title. But if all of that disappeared tomorrow, what would prove that Sir Leezus is genuinely dominant when there is no audience, no payment, no performance, and nobody calling you sir?
What would prove that? So in my space that I operate in, I would never be in a space to have to. Now this is just for the explaining this. Proving dominance is diabolical for anybody. You should never have to prove to another soul that you're dominant at all. It's nothing that can be. I can prove to you that I'm a leader. Prove that I'm a trusted person to make decisions. I can prove to you that I can bring peace of mind. And that's what I would prove. I would never in my life try to prove to someone that I'm a dominant male. Because what is that? What does that even prove? I can prove to you that I'm a black man with integrity. And if you are a person that needs support, guidance, advice, I can provide that for you to the best of my knowledge from what I've been through in life. Simple as that. Has nothing to do with BDSM, just me as a black man. Simple as that.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. I agree 100%. Well, let me tell you, man, Sir Leezus, thank you for joining us tonight and for answering all these questions that went beyond the surface. I appreciate you sharing your experience, your perspective, and your truth about your audience. Before we close, please tell everyone where they can follow you, support your work, or learn more about Find Your King. And I want one of those shirts too. I like them shirts, man. I
got you, man. Listen, can I do one thing before we close real fast?
Absolutely.
I want to, because a lot of people don't understand that I have someone that holds me down, and my peace of mind, my submissive is my peace of mind. And it's her birthday coming up. I just want her to say hi. Come on, just come say hi. Just come say hi.
Hey, happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Just come say hi. So when I say,
everybody, let's send her some hearts, some happy birthday love.
To use dime care and all that, that is my peace of mind. That is my dime care. That is the person that's waiting for me when I get off the flight every time when I'm doing whatever. And first thing she say, how many girls did you make? how many so has been my most supportive aspect in my life since I chose to do this professionally. Do you see what I'm saying? So, and a lot of people don't understand, like my personal life and my journey is completely different than what you see online when it comes to my submissive and my partner. I've been poly since 2006. My journey is completely different. It's the mental aspect of BDSM, of a DS dynamic. And a lot of people don't understand because they don't have those personal conversations because they see everything I put out there. They see me on stage, they see me that. They don't ask the question and say, well, what does it look like in your personal life? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
Right.
but I just wanted to give her praise because that's my dom care, hands down. And people ask about that all the time. How do you decompress? I come home to her, and she's there, and she's waiting for me to be able to decompress with the drink in the hand and so and so this is that. But so I wanted to put that out there because I don't
Absolutely.
I don't get the opportunity to give her a lot of credit for being my peace of mind when I'm out there. And you see my schedule. Every weekend I'm in a different city. Every weekend I'm in a different city.
Definitely,
So,
definitely.
but you can find me SirLeezus.com. Simple as that. Go to SirLeezus.com. Check out the website. Take a journey down there, and then you can follow me on any social media platform from there. Instagram is my most active. I do go live on TikTok. If you're on TikTok, do a ride with me. I'm a cyclist, so I ride a couple miles throughout the week. I do a live with that. But SirLeezus.com. Go to SirLeezus.com. You can follow me on any social media platform. See what city that I'll be in. My Instagram has my tour schedule, or if you want to see where I'm going to be at, send me a message. My DM is always open. Do not hesitate to DM me. Any time of the night, I'm up until 5 in the morning every night. You can DM me. We can converse. If I'm in your city, if you tell me you're from Black BDSM Elite and you were on this live, I will give you comp tickets when I come to your city.
Let's go. That's what I'm talking about.
Got a screenshot. You got a screenshot right now and show me
Screenshot the feed, y'all.
on the live. You screenshot it, and then I will give you comp tickets to wherever I'm at the next show. You got a screen.
Let me get my screenshot right now. There you go. There you go. I got mine. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Hey, I appreciate that, man. We started Black BDSM Elite because in this lifestyle, there's very few spaces where we can come together and really talk and communicate with each other and educate and empower each other and just get some entertainment too. So I love seeing you out there doing your thing, man. It's been a few years, more than a few years now. You've been out there doing your thing, man. And you just keep it going, man. Keep it going. You represent well. Don't listen to none of these haters out here that's got anything negative to say about what you're doing or about where you're going, man. You got support from us. You got support from our entire group. That's 13,000 strong. You got support from the Black community as a whole that's involved in this BDSM. I love that you don't gatekeep. You're not trying to just keep all the information to yourself. You're putting it out there to everybody. You're representing well, man. Do your thing.
Hey, I truly appreciate it, good brother. Truly appreciate it.
Absolutely. So to everyone who joined us live tonight and everyone watching the replay on YouTube or any of our other platforms, thank you for being part of the conversation. If tonight's conversation gave you something to think about, please like the video, share it with someone that would benefit, subscribe to TDTV on YouTube, turn on the notifications so that you can get notifications whenever we do these shows. We do have 2 other shows, flagship shows that we do, Triskelion Tuesday Talks, and we also have the Truth Booth that comes on tomorrow night, actually. So you definitely want to catch that one with Serenity and Sheba. They're going to be doing a good show tomorrow. So you definitely want to catch that. People are in the chats asking to DM and all of that stuff. So y'all get active. I want to say one final thing. I want everyone to remember that titles may introduce us, but our actions, our accountability, and the way we care for the people who trust us is what defines us. I'm Lorenzo Knight. This has been Ask a Dom on TDTV, discovering desire, defining you. Good night, everyone. Fortiori soon. That was a good one.
I didn't hear any of the background stuff. It was a lot. That's why I was playing it in my ear. I wanted to make sure.